Parshas Toldos, Tavshinai Gimel. Parshas Toldos is one of those weeks, is one of those parshas, as we said the past couple of years, that if we started talking now and discussing all the interesting and unbelievable things that go on in this week's parsha, and all the questions that we could have on it, from the pregnancy of Rivka with Yaakov and Esav, to Yitzchak sending Yaakov Avinu and Esav, whoever he wanted to send out, to get the to go get him something to eat in order to give the brachas, and in wanting to give the brachas to Esav, not wanting to give the brachas to Esav, they were supposed to go to Yaakov, and then there's just so much to discuss, so much to learn, and so much to talk about in this week's parsha. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to focus in on one point, and Baruch Hashem, now that we're 3-4 years into the Shiurim already, so we're making some headway into the parsha, but we still have a long way to go. The beginning of the parsha, by Yisroitu to Abanim Bekirba, Vatoimer, and Rivka said, Im Kain, Lama Ze Anoichi. And what did she do? Vatelech Lidroish Es Hashem. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered her back. Vayomer Hashem Lo, Shnei Goyim Bevitnech. There are two. Ushnei Lu'umim Mimei Yiporedu. And then, Ula'oim Eloim Yemotz, Rav Yavoitzo here. Rivka had a question, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Rivka an answer. The Nesivos Shalom, at the beginning, right away, brings a question from the Orach Chaim HaKadosh. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh asks, how is it possible that a tzaddikus like Rivka could ask the question from HaKadosh Baruch Hu because she was having pain? She's asking, Im Kain Lama Ze Anoichi. How is it possible? And why would Rivka Imenu, who was on such a high madrega, how and why would she ask this question of Im Kain Lama Ze Anoichi? Sort of like, to say, I don't use the wrong word, but sort of like with a taina, to say, Im Kain Lama Ze Anoichi. And also, so she asked the question, okay? We want to know why Rivka asked the question. Rivka did ask the question. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave her an answer. How was this answer of Shnei Goyim Bevitnech an answer to Rivka's problem? Rivka was saying, I have tsar, I'm in pain, in Kain Lama Ze Anoichi, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered her, Shnei Goyim Bevitnech. How does that answer or address Rivka's question and Rivka's problem that she had right here? It's brought down from the Torah Avos that the machshavos of a person's thoughts are called, sometimes they are called banim, like the children of a person. In other words, it's not you actually physically, but your thoughts are like an offshoot of the person, are considered like your banim. So Zok the Nesivos Shalom from the Torah Avos. Over here we say, by Yisroitzitzu habonim b'kirba, that what happened? There were conflicting machshavos over here. The bonim, machshavos, which we said are bonim, he says a beautiful taich in the pasuk. By Yisroitzitzu habonim b'kirba, there were conflicting thoughts here. And we know that Rashi tells us, that every time when Rivka would pass by a Mokum Kadosh, Yaakov would try to come in. Yaakov says, I want to leave, I want to come out to Mokum Kadosh. And when she passed by a Mokum Tumah, Esav would say, I'm out of here. Esav wanted to be there. So Rivka was asking, Im Kain, if such is the case that I'm having these conflicting machshavos within me, Lama Ze Anoichi, because the entire chait we know, we discussed it in Parshas Bereshit also, the entire chait of the Eitz Hadas was the eruv, the mixture of Toiv Ra. That was the chait of the Eitz Hadas, that now the lines of good and bad were now blurred. And from that time on, the others we know were Ne'olam HaTikun, and they were being misakein, trying to fix up the things in the world. So Rivka was asking, if I have this mixture of Toiv and Ra inside me, Lama Ze Anoichi, what am I accomplishing? What am I contributing to building the world? What am I going to contribute to building the future Dairis of Klal Yisrael? So she asked Hashem that question. And what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu answer back? HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered a perfect teretz. Shnei goyim v'vitnech. That's the answer. You have two. It's not one person with an identity crisis, and that there's an era of a mixture of toiv and ra. No, Shnei goyim v'vitnech. One is completely good, and one is completely bad. And that was a perfect teretz to Rivka's question, that says in the Nesivos Shalom. And that placated Rivka. That answered what she needed to know. The Nesivos Shalom says that Shnei Goyim represent the Yetzer HaToiv and the Yetzer Hara in each person. Shnei Goyim b'vitnech, the two Yetzerim that are in a person. Notice that Hashem created, Hashem set up this world where there's a constant struggle between the Yetzer Toiv and the Yetzer Hara. That's the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu set up the world. And what's the tachlis of the world? Zok to Nesivos Shalom. It's in the pasuk over here. V'rav ya'avoy tzoyer. Why is the Yetzer Hara? We want the Yetzer Hara to be subservient to the Yetzer HaToiv. And why is he called V'rav? Because we all know that the Yetzer Hara comes right when a person is born. A person's born with the Yetzer Hara. You do not get your Yetzer HaToiv until you are either bar or bas mitzvah. Until a person's a gadol or a gedola, you do not get the Yetzer HaToiv. So the goal of every person has to be that this brach V'rav ya'avoy tzoyer, that the Yetzer Hara should become subservient to your Yetzer HaToiv. The pasuk says, "V'yodoi oichezes ba'akev Esav," that the Yaakov's hand was grabbing on to the ankle of Esav, vayikro shemo Yaakov, and therefore they called Yaakov. So, firstly, the Nesivos Shalom asks over here, why would HaKadosh Baruch Hu give Yaakov a name of something which was a momentary occurrence? He held on to his ankle for how long? For a second. Yaakov did a lot of things. There were a lot of greater things and things which symbolized, which may have symbolized something which has a future, something which is going on for a long time. Here, Yaakov held on to Esav's ankle for a second, and he got the name Yaakov. Why would he get a name for something which seemingly is for a momentary occurrence? And Yaakov, in other words, Yaakov should have a name of something, Dover Nitzchi. For a second, he holds on to his ankle and he gets the name Yaakov, the father of Klal Yisrael. So, Be'emes, Ekev, something which Nesivos Shalom says a few different times in the Torah, Ekev is Rashi Teves, Kadesh Atzmacha B'mutter. That a person should make himself holy, how? B'mutter. And the things that are mutter to you, watch how you behave, and watch how you do things that are actually mutter to you. Zok to Nesivos Shalom, and that was V'yodoi oichezes ba'akev Esav. In other words, Yaakov was holding on to Esav, onto the Kadesh Atzmacha B'mutter. In other words, something which is a battle forever. It wasn't just that second. V'yodoi oichezes ba'akev Esav. He was holding on to the akev. He was holding on to that inyan of Kadesh Atzmacha B'mutter. That's the Iker battle, the battle between who is a Yaakov and who is an Esav. And that's the Havtacha V'rav Ya'avoy Tzoyer. That's the battle, the ongoing battle that every person has to have, that your Yetzer Hara should become subservient to your Yetzer HaToiv. And then that ultimately the Yetzer HaToiv will win out. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu was telling Rivka also, V'rav Ya'avoy Tzoyer. In that battle between Yaakov and Esav, and how you conduct yourself in things that are mutter. And that's Kadesh Atzmacha B'mutter. And Zok to Nesivos Shalom, that's where you actually show, that's how you actually show V'yahavtas Hashem Elokecha. How does a person show his love to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? A person shows his love to HaKadosh Baruch Hu by something which is mutter. In other words, it's not an isser, but something which is an isser. The Torah tells you what you have to do, the schar, the oynish, and everything. But when a person conducts himself by Kadesh Atzmacha B'mutter and the things that are mutter, that's how a person shows how much he loves HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because when he's about to do something, he says, what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what does Hashem want from me right now? Does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want me to do this? Does he want me to conduct myself this way? Or does he not want me to conduct this way? And that way, if you do this battle of watching how you do things that are mutter, then you have this V'rav Ya'avoy Tzoyer. In other words, that your Yetzer HaToiv will win out. You'll be able to defeat the Yetzer Hara, even though he was there first. Yetzer Hara was there first, he should be stronger. No, if you do this battle, the battle of Yaakov and Esav, of Kadesh Atzmcha B'mutar, you do that. The Pasuk says, V'hoya, in the Parshas Eikev, V'hoya Eikev Tishmon. V'hoya Eikev, again this lashon of Eikev, Zok Nesivos Shalom, you see right after that, the only time in the Torah says V'hoya Eikev Tishmon, then it says V'ahevcha. That the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to love you. And when Rebbeinu Shalom loves you, he does very good things for you. What does it mean? Zok Nesivos Shalom, it's Mida Keneged Mida. You're showing your love for HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'hoya Eikev Tishmon. You're showing that even though I'm not necessarily commanded, even though I'm not afraid of an Einish, even though there's no Schar V'Einish there, V'hoya Eikev, you're going to do the right thing, the way you conduct yourself as a Yid, by Kadesh Atzmacha B'mutar, V'hoya Eikev Tishmon, Rebbeinu Shalom says, V'ahevcha. It's Mida Keneged Mida. You show how much you love HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells you that I will love you back, and I will give you all the schar that comes to a person that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves. And that's pshat in the Yodoy. We wanted to know, how come HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Yaakov Avinu a name for a momentary occurrence? Zok Nesivos Shalom, it's not a momentary occurrence. It's a lifelong battle. The Yodoy Achezes Ba'akev. How a person's going to conduct himself, how he's going to battle that Yetzer Hara is a lifelong thing. Zok Nesivos Shalom, something very, very important. It says sometimes a person gets down. A person can get very frustrated because we spend our entire life fighting the Yetzer Hara and fighting something. People have different Yetzer Haras for different things. People have a Yetzer Hara. One person's Yetzer Hara is not the other person's Yetzer Hara. But sometimes, Zok Nesivos Shalom, we spend years and years fighting the Yetzer Hara, and you know what? The Yetzer Hara never goes away. We just can't beat this guy. No matter how hard we try, and yeah, we win a battle here, we win a battle there, but come on, leave me alone already. Get out of here. I'm fighting you for so many years. It's enough already. Zok Nesivos Shalom, that's why the Pasuk over here uses the lashon of Yodoy Achezes. Achezes means to hold on. In other words, that's the way the Rebbeinu Shalom set up the world, that you're always going to be holding on to that Akev, or you're always going to be holding on to that Kadesh Atzmacha B'mutar. We're always going to be holding on to Esav, to the Yetzer Hara. We're always going to be holding on to that. It's an ongoing battle. It's not a momentary thing. It's a lifelong battle of every single Yid. And that is why HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him the name Yaakov, because that is Taka, the entire battle, the entire life of every Yid, to make the Yetzer Hara be subservient to Yetzer HaTov. That is the battle. And that starts, that battle, where does that battle start? Zok Nesivos Shalom, that battle starts with the Akev. That battle starts with Kadesh Atzmacha B'mutar. Every moment, a person has a choice. You're walking down the street, you're doing something, someone comes over, he greets you, he says something to you. It's not, different things that you have to do, how you walk, how you talk, how you dress, how do you behave, how you act in public, especially how you act in private. All these things are, where it may not necessarily be usur or mutter, but we have to ask ourselves every minute, is this what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants? Is this the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants at the end of the day? Is this the way He wants me to behave? Is this what He wants for me? Let's take this lesson and let's make sure we're on Yaakov Avinu's team. Because Yaakov Avinu started this battle, which every year has to do forever. The Yodoy Achezes, it's now in our hands. We're the ones who are alive today. It's our generation. We have our battle. We have our challenges. We have our Yetzer Hara, which other generations did not have. We hold on to that, and we say, V'rav Yavoy Tzoyer, that now we're going to, Yodoy Achezes, we're going to hold on. And we're going to make sure that we make sure that the Yetzer Hara becomes subservient to our Yetzer HaTov. And that's the lesson of the naming of Yaakov and Esav at the beginning of the parsha.